Hello everyone and welcome back to my The Young and Restless 24 YouTube channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. In a cell at Crimson Lights, Nick hands Sharon a big elf and a lavender latte as he settles in across from her. She just got off the phone with Mariah and also spoke to Noah. As soon as she got home, she hugged Faith so hard that she made her squeak. The whole time she was interned, she allowed of her kitties. Nick admires her for doing that and asks if she wants to go home to rest. This is where Sharon wants to be, girdled by people living their lives and free. Now I'm too all because of you, she says, taking his hand. She tells him she'll no way take making the simplest choices for granted again. Part of taking back control of her life will be chancing out who was before all this. Sharon admits that at one point, she and Phyllis suspected on whether the kidnapper could be someone they knew, indeed one of their own kiddies. Whoever was responsible knew so important of their history their minds were hopeless enough to wonder if one of their kiddies was trying to educate them an assignment. Nick is confident none of their kiddies would do such a thing. This all sounds like some form of extreme remedy to him. It was more like an tried exorcism, she says. He asks if it succeeded. Sharon wants to believe that the fire was ironically cathartic. They were forced to come to terms with some of their issues and to save each other's lives. It's insane to Nick that this was each done for someone's entertainment. Sharon explains the voice sounded to be running some kind of cerebral trial. The person behind this must have had some experience in psychology. They knew what games would push the right buttons. She can't help but suppose of how analogous it was to aversion remedy. It was like some crooked remedial intervention. Nick is just relieved they're okay. Now they need to figure out who was behind it so it'll no way be again. Phyllis walks down the way of the athletic club and into the foyer. She looks around anxiously until her children burst through the revolving doors. Once they've enjoyed a group clinch, the kiddies say they've been bothered sick. Phyllis is okay now that she's seen her babies. They settle into the dining room. A burger and feasts is set before her as well as a large glass of red wine. The children ray while they watch her couloir. Phyllis likes that she could choose between feasts and a salad, but it wasn't important of a choice. She giggles about how happy she's that it's not poisoned. Her kiddies want to hear everything. Phyllis explains how she was trapped in a clinic with Sharon. She's not sure what the point was. It sounded to be some weird trial to make her and Sharon work together. Summer points out that the person who did this hasn't been caught. That means she's still in peril. Her mama tells them she doesn't want them to worry more than they formerly have. She has Chance looking out for her and she's determined to hunt down whoever did this. Daniel orders her not to go vigilante. He forces his mama to promise she'll let this police take care of this. Phyllis explains that her prisoner knew all about her history with Sharon and gave them tests and mysteries. She ended up being poisoned and her life reduced to a punchline for a mystery. The irony of it's that if it weren't for Sharon, she wouldn't be with her babies right now. She shares that she woke up and Sharon didn't have a twinkle, so she had to get her alive and remonstrating again. Daniel asks if they worked through any of their collective wrathfulness. With some difficulty, Phyllis admits they've developed a new appreciation for each other's strengths. Summer doesn't want to mention it, but asks if this could have been Ian's doing. It crossed her mama's mind, but Chance assured her he was cremated. This freak has to be set up sooner rather than laterally, Phyllis says. At Billy's place, Sally tells him that being fed suggestions to find Sharon and Phyllis makes this whole debacle sound like the strangest hijacking ever. She can't believe he just dove in on tracking them down. There was no way Billy wouldn't have done that. He couldn't turn down from the fewest chance of saving Phyllis. He starts beating himself up for allowing that Phyllis bailed on him rather of realizing Commodity was wrong. Spectre assures him this isn't his fault and her prisoner must have told her to give her family a bogus story. As he has a drink, she tells him how glad she's that he's okay. Billy frets that if they'd been 5 twinkles laterally, Phyllis and Sharon would have been poisoned by gas. This all sounds insane to Sally. At least there was a happy ending. Billy worries that whoever did this is still roving the thoroughfares. They can only hope the Bobbies find them before commodity indeed worse can be done to someone differently. As Sally gives him a massage, Billy wishes he could slam whoever did this to Sharon and Phyllis. But he's further than happy to hang up his idol cape and put on his business jacket. Once he knows Phyllis is okay, he wants to concentrate on transferring their company into the stratosphere. Stroking his neck, Sally says he's still a idol indeed if he's not wearing a cape. They kiss. Phyllis shows up at Billy's place and interrupts him and Sally. She tells them she's fine and everything is nice. She just wanted to have a discussion with Billy. Sally declares she needs to get back to the office and snappily exits. Jouncing, Phyllis admits to Billy that she's not fine. She needs her life back and he's the only bone who can help her. As she apologizes, he tells her there's no need, but she insists because she blew up their timeline. Billy reminds her that she was abducted. He tells her to take some time and recover. Choking up, Phyllis explains that what helped her when she was in prison was only allowing of her kitties but thinking of what Abbott dispatches could negotiate. Springing up, she goes on about how they can change effects for the better and make commodity great. It's important to her and she needs it now. Moment, not hereafter, not one day when I feel more. Please, please, she begs. This is the only way she'll get past what was taken from her. Billy is bothered she'll take on further than she can handle right now, but she insists she needs the excitement and energy. When Phyllis brings up the press release, Billy awkwardly confesses that he was an idiot and put it out without her name attached to it when he allowed. She went truant on him. He's sorry for that. It was a mistake and he realized that veritably snappily. Billy knows she'd no way bail on him and he soon realized she was in trouble. Do you want me to work with you, she asks, or is this a mercy thing? He says he needs her fire. There's no bone on the earth he'd rather do this with. When he asks for her remission, she says of course she forgives him, he saved her life. Phyllis runs into Billy's arms and he squeezes her as she looks emotional. Chance and his crew search the basement of the medical clinic. He gives them instructions on what to look for but assumes that the malefactor left no traces. The place has been trashed, but there could still be some fingerprints that don't belong to the two victims. However, they'll be one step closer to chancing out who did this, if they can do that. As he searches, he pulls the covers off the gas valve and discovers that the device that touched off it to blunder is still there. The operative calls for a bag and takes the device. Laterally, Chance walks into Crimson Lights and finds Nick and Sharon together. The Bobby explains that they bagged some particulars at the clinic and are staying to see if they get a hit on the fingerprints. They were suitable to chase the purchase of a remote-controlled outfit attached to the gas line. It was bought at a tackle store not far from the clinic. Chance says they will go through the store's surveillance footage to look for a suspect. Sharon says no bone abominated her as much as Phyllis, and now that is indeed true. The Bobby suspects the abductor could be someone they know. Nick is sure there's a whole list of people who are adversaries of Phyllis. Sharon is sure that if anyone can catch the monster who did all this, it's Chance. The Bobby urges her to get some rest. Nick backs this up, reminding her of her plans to go to Sedona. On alternate study, Nick suggests she take Faith to Europe to see Noah. She agrees that now would be a good time to go but only if Nick goes with them. In her suite at the athletic club, Tracy picks up Alan's buzzing phone and sees a textbook that reads, "Security breach at clinic. Preventives legislated." As she mystifications over that, Alan enters, agitated to take her out until he notices she's holding his phone. She explains his phone was making strange noises and she seized it, seeing the odd textbook. Taking the phone from her hand, Alan turns down for a nanosecond and also claims he's been seeing cautions for many days. Stewing he's been addressed, he has opened his phone. That's why he was so stupefied when he saw her with his phone. That makes sense to Tracy, who suggests he get a new phone. She suddenly remembers that he must have opened his phone to textbook her earlier. As they sit, he chuckles and says he must have been so agitated to see her that he forgot about the threat. They talk about how his identity might have been stolen. He ponders what that would feel like and how useful it would be as a therapist to go through the kind of cerebral desolation that must involve. It would be an intriguing trial to witness those passions. She reminds him that he formerly did when his family Martin was pretending to be him. Alan changes the content back to their marriage and she throws out many options, including the Abbott mansion once it has had its refresh. Tracy also considered Paris since they've so numerous recollections of getting to know each other there. She wants their marriage to be perfect. He's happy to marry her anywhere. As they kiss, his phone starts reverberating with further cautions. She wonders what kind of hack this could be. Alan snaps about her asking about the phone and shuts it off. Apologizing, he explains he's just stressed out. He thinks they need to concentrate on being in love and the idea of getting married in Paris is growing on him. He suggests they jump on a spurt and check out some venues.